Hey everybody, it's Robot here from Vespa Motorsport and ScooterWest.com here in San Diego, California. For all things Vespa, check us out on the web, ScooterWest.com. If you have any technical questions, you can talk to this guy named Fabio and he will help you out. Today I'm going to show you how to diagnose an issue that plagues Piaggio and Vespa products that are 250cc all the way up to 500cc that are fuel injected from starting around 2004, something like that. I think with the X9s and BV 500s, all the way up to the last of the GTS 250s, even some of the very early GTS 300 Supers had this issue. So you're riding along and you'll see the check engine light kind of just come on and off. And I tell people, well, the check engine light could be several hundred different things. It could be a running issue with the engine, but it also indicates other faults. And of course you need the factory diagnostic tools to properly diagnose this. But there's one thing you could check, and I'll show you next. But we're gonna go ahead and start the scooter and get that check engine light to come right on. So you can see this is a pretty old GTS 250. A lot of miles, the dashboard's kind of burned out. But let's just see if we get that check engine light. So you rev it up a little bit, it's a little noisy, and eventually the check engine light kind of comes on. Just like that. Then you let it come back down to idle and it will go out. So when you see that fault with the check engine light, the first thing to do is check for your battery voltage. So I had the battery cover off. You can see it's kind of crusty under here. Got the voltmeter, set the volts, DC volts that is. The voltage there. Well, normal voltage regulator should be clipping the voltage at about 14.4 volts, 14.5 at the very most. Well, check out what this thing does when you rev it up. It's going up to about 17 volts. That is way too high on the voltage. So the Vespa GTS all the way up till about 2017 has had the voltage regulator located right on top of the radiator assembly. So these scooters have two radiators for the liquid cooled engine, and the right side radiator, this device is mounted right on top of it. Of course, you got to dismantle the whole entire glove box along with the floorboard, and I suggest you watch my prior video that shows disassembly of all the bodywork on the Vespa GTS so you have an idea of what you're getting into to change out that part. Pretty much this is the regulator assembly that tends to fail on those units all the way up to about 2009, 2010. They had regulators that just would fail over time. This one obviously has gotten like 24,000, 25,000 miles, so it's had a long life. You can just expect electronic components to fail, on something that's coming on, 10, 11, 12, 15 years old, and also with the high miles, but it's just, you just need to replace this part out, pretty much dismantle the whole thing. So the regulators in question have a connector that looks like this on the end. And the part number for the replacement regulator is 639110. We have these available on Scooter West, always in stock, a very common item that we change out quite frequently in our service department. The nice thing is the new replacement ones rarely ever fail. So once you replace this part, you're good. If you watch my series on the Mexico scooters, guess what? 2 or 3 of our, I think 3 of the scooters have had this regulator fail. I should have known better and just changed it out before we went on the trip, but not much of a big deal. We were able to get one of these or bring one back on a later trip. It's not a total detrimental thing, but you definitely want to fix that. It severely damages the batteries, can blow your headlight bulbs, and worst case, it could damage the computer and the scooter and the dashboard. On the later scooters, they went to a different style voltage regulator. The regulator looks like this, but it has this much larger connector on it, these different style connectors, and these rarely ever fail, so not really an issue. So if you have a 2011 and newer Vespa or Piaggio product, they have very high quality regulators that rarely fail, so not much of an issue. We do have one on the shelf ready to sell if somebody ever needs it. But just want to give that little tip. Check engine lights coming on when it revs up and then goes off when it comes back down to idle. Check your battery voltage while the scooter's running. Likely a faulty voltage regulator. Hope that helped everybody out. If you have one of these scooters in this era and you don't really have the dealer tools to diagnose a check engine light, the check engine light's coming on and you have normal battery voltage, well, you probably have another issue. It might be as simple as replacing the O2 sensor, or maybe a much more complicated issue or something like that. Of course, I recommend having the special tools to properly diagnose the issue before you just go in there replacing parts willy-nilly. Until next time, this is Robot here from Vespa Motorsport and ScooterWest.com. If that helped you out, or you like my little tip there, just give this video a thumbs up, helps out our channel. Of course, always help us out. We don't monetize these videos. Shop on our web store, ScooterWest.com. Stay safe. Until next time, Robot here.